Yeah, hi. This is William H. Macy. Is it okay if I would get a room and bring a lady friend with me?
Yeah, I don't care.
Would it be any problem if it was a prostitute of any kind?
Well, if you're the only one, but if there's a lot of other ones, yeah.
So, wouldn't it be you couldn't come in too?
I'm gonna what?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a turn on for me. Could you join in too?
No, you gotta be not.
Okay.
No, I don't. No.
Well, come on. I'd really like to watch you and the prostitute.
And then I came across him, and he was like, yeah, I want you to be my girlfriend, and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay. So we met in person. Actually, that night he came to my grandma's house and picked me up. And then we hung out and got messed up, and then he threw me out on Robinson. And I stayed with him for a long time. I thought I was in love with him, and how he loved me. He wanted to marry me. And then he started beating me up, and I was coming out here with black eyes, and I left.
$300-400. I was smoking it up until 6 days ago, and some guys, they're weird. Some guys just want you to spank their butt. One guy, I got on my mailbox on Telemates, wants to buy my panties. And other guys, they just want you to put a condom on just like they did.
Yeah.
I don't remember my mom prostituting, but when I had first came out here to the streets, I had went and visited my mom, and I was crying and stuff, and she told me she knew what I was going through, and I didn't understand what she was saying, and that's when she told me, hey, I was a prostitute before. And she actually explained to me what all could happen out here on the streets.
Did she
When I was 8, I got put in a group home raised by nuns, St. Vincent Home for Children, because my father had full intercourse with me when I was 8. Then when I was 15, I got put in a foster home with some crack dealers.
Raid. Hundreds of law enforcement descended upon these 3 motels around 6 this morning. I'm told these motels have accounted for 17% of calls to police. They've been known as drug houses and also prostitution. And through their investigation, this year-long investigation between the city and the feds, they've uncovered that the owners of the motels were behind this drug and prostitution ring. 3 people have been arrested so far. We expect more arrests throughout the day. Now, we did ask police why it took a year to shut down this operation.
We know there's activity going on. We've been addressing the activity, and once the owners get involved, it becomes a little bit more difficult, and we wanted to make sure we had all of our ducks in a row.
Mark and Joyce, we've seen a large police presence, U.S. Marshals, ATF, FBI, also the Sheriff's Office. A commander made a clarification. He had said more than 400 officers were working on this. He meant officers throughout the region. Right now, here on scene, hundreds, but there's also officers that have been serving search warrants off-site and people helping again with those who've been exploited. Some humanitarian efforts undergoing there. We're expecting to learn a lot more at a 1 o'clock press conference at the Tukwila Community Center. We'll let you know if there's any new updates. For now, live in Tukwila, I'm Teresa Yu in Ping 5 News.
I actually caught a juvenile case, and I wouldn't have caught the charge if I would have told them who my folks was, but I never told them who my folks was, so I was locked up for 4.5 months in the juvenile center, cut off an ankle monitor. I ran from the police. They cut it off and went to Dallas when I turned 18, and then when I came back, I went and turned myself, and I spent 2.5 months in there. It's me. I've had pimps jump out the car and try to stab me. But nowadays, they just drive around and pretty much roll down their window and yell and holler at you, telling you that they're a pimp and their number and what their name is. You probably can make $300 to $400, maybe. It just depends. A lot of girls I actually know do $20 and $30 dates just so they can make all their money and go home. But that's what's making Robinson so bad, and that's why it's not $1,000 check no more. Actually had what was it, last year? I was like on 26th and something, and this guy, he gave me the money and everything, but he wouldn't use a condom, so I tried to get out of his car, and he tried to stab me and try to lock me inside his car.
And
police and everything else is out here, you know, men like to handcuff and kill women out here. You always gotta know what's going on. You can't always just be high and drunk and
I was 8. I got put in a group home, raised by nuns, St. Vincent Home for Children, and because my father had full intercourse with me when I was 8. Then when I was 15, I got put in a foster home with some crack dealers.
Actually, I was on Moco Space, and I came across this guy that was supposed to be my boyfriend, and he actually that night put me out here on Robinson and had me on drugs. So I was on eggs and I was drunk and I was smoking PCP and marijuana, and he just dropped me off on the streets and was like, okay, go out here and make some money for me, and that's what I did. And just about 3 months ago, I left him, actually, just left him, and I found me a boyfriend, and he's not my pimp. I actually take his check. I got kicked out of my mother's house, and I was living with my grandmother, and it wasn't going too well, so I just decided to go with this. I mean, he had his own place, and he was taking care of me with the money I gave him, so I've drunk alcohol, I've did marijuana, I've actually did the K2 before. A lot of the girls tend to think that they're going to be out here for the rest of their life and stuff like that, which I've pointed out, you know, these crackheads and these old women that's out here, they've probably been out here all their life, and this is not what you want to look like, because they look older than what they really are.
The same reason I am, well, I was out here smoking crack. Stand on the corner sometimes, or I'll walk back and forth, but if I see a car turn the corner and I see him coming back down the street, I'll walk towards it. I've got a fire chief. I got a guy that he works in the Air Force. He directs planes. He's an airplane director. He tells them where to land. Then I got one guy that takes me to the main headquarters downtown. Military headquarters is one of the highest ranks, and nothing but offices and women's bathrooms, lockers, and shower and bathroom. Takes me there in the middle of the night whenever everybody's not at the office. And then there's a stand on the corner sometimes, or I walk back and forth, but if I see a car turn the corner and I see him coming back down the street, I'll walk towards it. What about that? I'm gonna make some changes. Once I get me an ID, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go get a job at Wendy's on 74th and Main Street. This ain't no life.